Join. We'll start with today's class. So, good morning, students. Once again, happy Raksha Bandhan to all. So, today I'm starting with the chapter number 1, which is probability. So, again, we will recall something which we have done from last week, and then we'll go slowly until we improve the strength. So, we will see some more probability problems here. So, let us start with the lecture. So, you can see the guy here, Kolmogorov. So he's the guy who developed the theory of the probability. In 1933, he's a Russian mathematician. So what is the meaning of probability? Probability generally it deals with the occurrence of the chance of the event. Okay. For example, what is the chance that XYZ patient may uh, suffer from the COVID-19? So there is some kind of occurrence of the random event. Okay. Then the meaning of probability is basically to extent to which something is likely to happen. So we will just find whether this might happen or this may not happen. For example, the rainfall. So tomorrow it may rain or it may not rain. It's uncertain in nature. So what is the probability that tomorrow may rain? Okay, what is the probability that tomorrow may not rain? So it is something which is likely to happen. Okay, so the basic probability theory also we will use in probability distribution, which is your upcoming chapters, where you will learn the possibility of outcome for a random experiment. So in this lecture, we will see what are the random experiments and how to find the sample spaces and so on. And then to find the probability of a single event, we will see what are the events, types of events, and then how to find the probability of that events and what are the possible outcomes. So probability definition in mathematics. So probability is a measure of chance of an event to occur, which I've told you earlier. So many events cannot be predicted with total certainty. That's sure. We cannot predict any thing which may happen tomorrow with 100% surety, but we can predict them that it may happen with this percentage of probability. So we can predict only the chance of the event to occur. So, for example, how likely they are happen to use it, and the probability always range between 0 to 1. The probability of any event cannot exceed more than 1, and it cannot go below 0. So probability always lie between 0 to 1, where 0 means it is an impossible event, okay, where 1 indicates there is a certain event. Okay, and when you find all the probability of sample spaces and when you add up all, if you get 1, it means the probability which you have found is correct. We will see all these points in detail one by one. So we can look at this probability diagram. The probability always lie between 0 and 1. If the probability is 0, it is called impossible event. Okay, wherever the probability is exactly 1, it is called as sure event. And if the probability is very much close to 1, it is likely to happen tomorrow. For example, if I want to predict whether it may rain tomorrow or not, if I get the probability close to 1, for example, let's say 0.9, then it is more likely to rain tomorrow. So that is what it means. So if it is 50% here, then it is an even chance of occurrence, or it may not occur also. If it is very, very close to 0, then it is not likely to occur. So this is one pictorial representation I have showed here. All right. So formula for probability. So the probability formula is defined as the probability of an event equal to the ratio of number of favorable outcomes and the total number of outcomes. So which means whenever you want to find the probability of any event, you have to find the number of total favorable outcome, and you have to divide this by total number of outcome. So this is number of favorable outcomes. So we generally call it as n by m form. So this method of finding the probability is called the classical approach. This is a classical approach. So, but we are not very much in use of this classical approach. So we will use the axiomatic rule of probability, which we will study in the next upcoming slide. All right. So let's go to the next slide. These are all the introduction. Let us see some example and solution. So there are 6 pillows in a bed. So 3 are red, 2 are yellow, and 1 is blue. So what is the probability of picking a yellow pillow? Can anyone tell me what is the probability of picking the yellow pillow? There are 6 pillows in the bed. All right. Let me see some chats. 1 by 3, 2 by 6. Very good. So there are 2 yellow pillows. So we are finding the picking of yellow pillow out of 6. So probability is very much simple, that it should be 2 by 6. So which is nothing but your number of favorable outcome divided by total number of outcome. Total number of outcome. So total number of outcome is 6 pillows, and we are picking 2. So this is the event which is favorable to this particular case. It is not 1 by 6, it will be 1 by 3. So we go to the next part. So let us look at this problem. There is a container full of color bottles. Okay, 1 second. There is a container full of color bottles, red, blue, green, and yellow. Some of the bottles are picked out and displaced. So Sumit did this 1000 times and got the following result. The number of blue bottle picked out is 300. Number of red bottle picked out is 200. Number of green bottle picked out is 450. And number of yellow bottles picked out is 50. All these outcomes are out of 1000 times. Out of 1000 times. Okay, so these are the possible outcomes he has got and he has listed out. Now the question is, what is the probability that Sumit will pick up a green bottle? Can you answer this? What is the probability that Sumit will pick a green bottle? So green bottle, you can see here it's a 450. So the probability that Sumit will pick a green bottle will be definitely the likely outcome, which is 450 whole divided by the total number, which will be 1000. So how much? 9 by 20. Okay, 450 by 1000. Correct. That is correct answer. Yes. So 450 by 1000. So that is 0.45. Okay. Kotha, I will unmute you. Once I will come in the between, I will unmute you. You can please write down your doubts. I will take one by one all the doubts. Okay. Anyway, you see the second question. If there are 100 bottles in the container, how many of them will likely to be a green? Definitely 45. Because if 450 out of 1000, then definitely out of 100, there will be 45 green bottles. Okay. Basic examples. Now, let us see the random experiment. Learn this random experiment very carefully here. when I'm taken with the example, when a coin is tossed, it may turn up head or tail. Okay, we know that, but we are not sure which one of this result will actually be obtained. We are not sure. It's some random experiment of tossing a coin. Such experiments are called random experiment. Okay, you have pick the coin randomly and you have tossed it. It may come head, it may come tail. We are not sure. But a experiment which you have done is said to be random if it satisfies two conditions. First condition is it has more than one possible outcome. Okay, it has to be more than one possible outcome, and it is not possible to predict the outcome in advance. Okay, whenever you talk about the random experiment, when you're still going to conduct any random experiment, for example, throwing of a dice, you are not sure that what kind of number may come, so it's a random experiment. Okay, and definitely it has more than one possible outcomes. So what are the outcomes and how we write outcomes, that we're going to learn now. So this is the random experiment. So what are the outcomes and the sample space? A possible result of random experiment is called its outcome. Okay, consider rolling of a dice. When you roll a dice, what are the possible outcomes you may get? What are the sample spaces? I can write this as sample space or outcome or outcomes. We know that we'll get one number, we can get two, we can get three, we can get four, we can get five, or we can get six. These are the only possible outcomes we have for the rolling of a dice. So these are called sample spaces. These are called sample space. This whole term 1 to 6 is called sample space, and each term inside the sample space, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are called sample points. These are called sample points. These are called the sample points. So there are 6 sample points for rolling of dice. Okay, so I already discussed that we denote this with capital letter S. So each element of sample space is called sample point. So let us see some example in sample space. So 2 coin tossed once. So I have taken 2 example. 2 coin are tossed once now. So what are the sample spaces? So there are 2 coins now. So the possible outcome will be head or tail in first toss. When you toss it on the second time, again you may get head and tail, and again you may get head and tail. So what are the possible outcomes you may get now? So the possible outcomes are head head, head tail, then you may get tail head, and you may get tail and tail. So the sample space S will be HH, HT, TH, and TT. So because 2 coins are tossed once, so the possible number of outcome will be 2 power 2, which will be 4 sample spaces you will get. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 sample spaces are there. Still, I'm not talking about finding the probabilities. We are just looking at how to find the sample spaces of the different event. I'm using more often the rolling of dice and tossing of coin because these are the problems which we are working frequently. Now let us see the next problem. Find the sample space associated with the experiment of rolling of dice and find the number of elements to the sample space. Okay. So can you try this? What are the number of possible ways? There are pair of dice. There are pair of dice. It means 2 dice you are tossing at a time. So what are the number of total possible outcome? How many sample spaces you will be have? So rolling of dice contains 6 digit, and because it's a pair of dice, so 2 times we are doing it, so we are definitely going to get 36 possible outcomes. So can we list out all the possible outcomes here? So what are the possible outcomes when you toss a pair of dice? So in one pair you may get number 1, another pair also you may get number 1. So 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3, 1 comma 4, 1 comma 5, and 1 comma 6. These are one possibility. So this is for the first dice, this will be the outcome of the second dice. This is outcome of the first dice, outcome of the second dice. This is outcome of first dice, outcome of the second dice. Like that, pairwise I have written this. So next possibility will be that in the first dice you may get 2, second dice you may get 1. First dice you may get 2, second dice you may get 2. This can be 2 comma 3. Like that, this can be up to 2 comma 6. So like that, when you list all the probability up to 6 comma 1 to 6 comma 6, the total number of outcomes, if you count, you will get 36 outcomes in this case. So one more way of identifying as a T diagram, but that will be a more complicated. So I'm not done in that way, but you can understand yourself that if one dice you have 1 and 2, I don't have space here. So in the second run, you may also get 1, you may also get 2, you may also get 3, you may also get 4, you may get 5, you may get 6. So the possible number of outcome will be 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2. Like that, I have listed up to 1 comma 6. Same thing will applicable for 2 also. Same thing will applicable for 3 also, and so on. So like that, when we count all the possible outcomes, we will get exactly 36 outcomes. So whenever there are a pair of dice, they're talking about a pair of dice here. So it means 2 dice at a time. Okay. So you have to check the outcome of both the dice, one dice and second dice. Simultaneously have to throw what are the outcomes in first dice and second dice, that we have to write in pairwise. This is what it means. Anyway, let us take this part. A coin is tossed. If it is show head, we draw a ball. We are not finding the probabilities here. We are only writing the sample spaces first. We will go step by step. Okay. So a coin is tossed. A coin is tossed. If it shows head, then we have to draw a ball from a bag. Okay, which contains 3 blue and 4 white balls. If it shows tail, then we throw a dice. So what are the sample spaces for this? Okay, so let us start from the first event, that a coin is tossed. So if a coin is tossed, only the 2 possible outcomes we will get initially, either head or tail. I will change the color. Okay, fine. So anyway, if it shows head, it means if it shows head, then we have to draw a ball containing 3 blue ball and 4 white ball. So now head appears. So then what he has to do? Ball 1 he has to pick. He can pick ball 2, second blue ball. He can pick third blue ball, B3. I'm sorry, B3. And there are another 4. So white ball 1, white ball 2, white ball 3, and white ball 4. All right. Now, this is the possible outcome when head comes now. So what happens if tail comes? If tail comes, then we have to throw a dice. And when we all know that when you throw the dice, the outcome you will get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we have to list out all the possible outcomes in this case. So what is the first possible outcome here? That will be your HB1, HB2. This will be your HB3. Then this will be HW1. This will be HW2. This will be HW3. And this will be HW4. Now what is HB1 means? HB1 means head appears in the first toss, correspond to that ball, blue ball 1 has picked up. What is the meaning of HW4? We have got head at the first toss and then we have picked up fourth white ball. This is what it means. And what are the outcome for this one? We will get T1, we will get T2, we will get T3, we will get T4, and we will get T5 and T6. So what is the meaning of T1? T1 means tail in the first toss, correspond to that we have got number 1 in the dice. So T6 means tail we have got at the tossing the coin, correspond to we have got the 6th number when throwing a dice. So the total sample space when you have to write, it should be start from HB1 to HW4 and T1 to T6. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 sample space. So sample space you have to write properly. I don't have space here, so I will just write down. So sample space will be start from HB1, HB2, so on up to T6. It will come. So the total number of sample space here is 13. This is how to find the sample spaces. Now let us look at the second part. Can you write the sample space for the second part? Consider the experiment in which a coin is tossed repeatedly. They are tossing a coin repeatedly until a head comes. So describe the sample space. All right. So first possibility is that you have tossed the coin first time, and first time itself you have got head. So if you have got head, then no need to do anything. Done it. So let's say when you have tossed second time, you have got tail. Once you have got tail, again you have to toss. So you may get head, you may get tail. So when you have got head, we are not doing anything. But when you get tail, again you have to toss. So again you will get head and tail. So once you have got head, no need to do anything. But again, if you get tail, again you have to toss it. Okay, sorry, this will be tail. I'm sorry. So this continues. Again, when tail comes, again you have to toss. So again you may get head and tail. So what are the sample spaces you may get? So the sample spaces are first toss itself, you may get head. Then second toss, you may get tail into head. So TH. Okay. Then third maybe TTH. TH, TTH or TTT. Then you may get TT, TH, or you may get TTTT, tail, 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 and tail, and it will continue. So see that we are getting infinite sample space. We are getting an infinite sample space because you are tossing repeatedly. We are not stopping anywhere. So until the head comes, we have to keep on tossing. So these are the all sample spaces we may get it. All right. Now let us talk about the event. So again, consider the cosine of time 2 times. So already we have seen the sample space. So this is sample space. So now suppose that we are interested in the event correspond to occurrence of exactly one head. So what are the possible outcomes for this event? We have now defined an event, one head. So from the sample space, this is not come because you have two head here. Here you have one head, here you have one head. So this is also not come. So you will get only two sample HT and TH. And you can see that HT and TH also contains in sample space. So E is the subset of sample space always. Whatever the event you define, okay, so you can define any event. For example, let's say you can also define another event, let's say F, where uh, at least one head appears. One head appears. So at least one head means one or more head appears. So what are the outcomes for this event? So one or more head. One or more head means HH because two head is there. HT and TH. The here also head is there. That's all. So you can see that we have three. So again, in this case also, all the elements are present in sample space. So even this is also a subset of S. So any event you define, that will be a subset of sample space always. All right. Now let us see the occurrence of event. You have to understand this occurrence of event because we'll be using this word more oftenly. That how, when we say event occurs, what do you mean by occurrence of the event? This is what I'm going to show you here. So occurrence of the event means let event E of a sample space is said to be occur. Now this event is said to be occur if the outcome W of an experiment is such that W belongs to E, and if W does not belongs to E, then event has not occurred. This is mathematical definition, but what it means, let us see. So for example, let us say rolling of a dice. So in rolling of a dice, we already know that we have a sample space from 1 up to 6. And now we have defined an event number less than 4. So let's say we have got a number less than 4. So let's say event 3. I've choose 3. I'm not writing all the number. So, and W is the outcome. Okay. So now you can see that W is equal to 3, which is an outcome of this event, belongs to sample space. 3 belongs to here. And also this belongs to an event. Okay. So if you want to write all the elements, you can write down. Then I will write down all the events in this case. And then let's say number less than 4 means 1 also will come, 2 will come, 3 will come. So if I choose W is equal to 3, this belongs to event 3. So then we can say that event E has occurred. But if you take a number 5, so you can see that 5 does not belongs to the event because event what we have defined is less than 4. So in this case, we can say that event has not occurred. Or even though if you take 6 as an outcome, then this also does not belong to the event E. In this case also, event has not occurred. So whereas you can take any number between 1 to 3, event will occur. It is all depend on what kind of event you have defined. So impossible event. So already we know that when we get impossible event, so if you define an event where number appears on a dice multiple of 7, you know that it is not possible. So event will have a null space. So it is an impossible event. If you take another event F, the number turns up is odd or even. So you know what is odd or even number. So F is the event. What are the odd numbers and even numbers in this case? What are odd numbers? 1, 3 and 5, right? 1, 3, 5 odd number, and then 2, 4, 6 even numbers. So you can see that 1 to 6 all the numbers are coming in the event f, which is also equal to your sample space. Therefore the event f is equal to s is a sure event. Simple event, it's just a definition. If you take the tossing of 2 coin, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 simple events. So a simple event means a event E has only one sample point of a sample space. It's called a simple event or elementary event. So for example, if you have tossed the coin 2 times, so E1, E2, E3, E4, if you take one sample point each, there are called 4 simple events are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is just a definition. Now, what is compound event? If an event has more than one sample point, it is called compound event. So tossing of a coin thrice. So I'm not writing the sample space. Sample space you can write yourself. Okay. So now tossing of coin thrice means head and tail. Again you will get head and tail. And again you will get head and tail here. Here also you will get head and tail. Here you will also get head and tail. Here also you will get head and tail. So all these sample spaces, you can write it together. So HHH, comma, HHT, comma, HTH, comma, HTT, comma, THH, comma, THT. So then TTH and TTT. So how many possible outcomes you may get? You should get 2 power 3, 8 outcomes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the sample spaces we have. Anyway, so E is the event. I have defined exactly one head appears. So you can see that where and all we have only one head appears. So HTT, THT, and TTH. So this is the outcome for the event E. F is the event at least one head appears. At least one head. So one or more head. So one or more head means HHH will come. So HHH is there. HHT should come. HHT is there. HTH because two head is there, so HTH is there. One head, one or more, so HTT also should come. HTT also is there. THH, THH, where is THH? Here. Then THT and TTH. So this is the possible outcomes for event F. Now choose the one more event which is at most one head. If at least is one or more, if you mean at least one means one or more, then what is at most one? What is at most one? Can you tell me what do you mean by at most one? One or more, at most. How you define at most? 0 or 1 at max? Yes, 0 or 1. At most 1 or less. 1 or less. So what are the possible outcomes here we will get? Let us see. So at most one head, it means I should get only one head or 0 head. So let us start from one head. Where we have one head? HTT. So yes, HTT is there. Then we have THT because only one head is there. So THT is there. TTH is there. And TTT also come because there is no head. So this is the outcomes. So now you can see here that all these events what you have defined, E, F, and G, are all compound events, because when what do you mean by compound event? If an event has more than one sample point, so every outcome has more than one sample point. Here you have 3 sample points. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here you have 7 points, and here you have 4 sample points. So these are called compound events. So this is just a definition. No need to. Anyway, all the events are subset of sample space, so we already know that. Complementary event. So let us look at the time what we have, 12:13. Another 5-10 minutes will wind up. How much is possible, we'll only do that much. We'll not go in speed, we'll go step-by-step procedure. Okay. So what do you mean by complementary event? So if A is any event you have defined, then definitely A complement will be its complement, which is call it as not A. Event A is not defined. So in Venn diagram, if I just say that, if I just take the Venn diagram, okay, if this is suppose your event A, okay, and you have your universal space like this, all right. So if this is your event A, then, and this is your universal space U, then apart from this A, whatever is there in the universal set here, this all gives you your A complement. Okay. For example, if you have, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a number defined. So universal set has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because universal will contain all the numbers, and A is the number which I have taken 1, 2, 3. Then what will be its A complement? Definitely 4, 5, 6 away from element A. So this will be 4, 5, 6. So you can see that there is no common thing between A and A complement. So whenever you take the intersection of A complement, always you will get a null set. So what is the meaning of A intersection A complement? I will tell you in later class. We generally call this as disjoint set. So A and A complement are disjoint to each other. No common elements. Okay, this is one example. Let us take one more. Let's say you have event A and event B, and you have a universal set. Okay, so if this is your event A and this is your event B, so what is this event? We already know that this event is your A intersection B. So what is this part now? What is this part? Only this particular part. What is this part? Can anyone tell me what is this much part left out? The red color. What you find this event? A minus B. Okay. And what about this event? What about this blue color? What about this blue color? B minus A. Very good. So let me write down. So this I will call it as B minus A, as you have said, and this I will call it as A minus B. You already know this, but can I also call it as A intersection of B complement? Can I also call this as A intersection of B complement? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. If it is yes, then what is A intersection B complement can be found as? Or if I just want to say in a probability concept, then what is probability of intersection B complement can be written as? So this is probability of A. Okay, you want only this element. You want only this element, the red color. So obviously from A, you have to subtract what? A intersection B. That makes sense. Right? So this is in upcoming classes. I wanted to tell you, but I got the idea here, so I thought let me tell you in this slide itself. So that if it is A minus B or A intersection B complement, because B complement is what? A but not B. So even if you want to find the probability of A intersection B complement, so from the probability of A, you have to subtract A intersection B, then you will automatically get the highlighted part. Similarly, things appear applicable for this as well. So this part is similar to this. I'm not writing that. Right. So these are all the history. I already discussed all that. So event A or B, I think I will wind up till here. So tomorrow class, I will start from your event A or B.